I think, one, as a brand, live sports are incredible. It depends what level of sports and what you're trying to achieve, but it is the most watched content on a quote-unquote linear basis. I think the way it's shifted into, YouTube now has all of the Sunday Ticket, Amazon's got Thursday Night Football, Netflix has a Christmas game this year. So I think when you think about live sports, it's not what we used to kind of just buy it as. I think it's much broader now. It's got targetability. It's in the moments that probably matter the most to consumers. The engagements are through the roof. And to me, sports brings culture together. It brings people together. And I think it's honestly one of the biggest kind of, I wouldn't say resurgences, but surges in live entertainment today across all of the different content that we are buying as a brand.
And what does it mean to you in terms of performance, reach, upper funnel, lower funnel? Where does the live sports, this sort of new live sports environment, what does it provide you?
Yeah, as a brand, reach is our number one driving mechanism for, again, our category, which is labeled as candy, mint, and gum, has a 98% household penetration. So literally everybody in America. So for us, reach is probably our number one KPI that we go after to make sure that we're speaking to as many households as possible. When you bring sports content into the mix of all the other things that you're buying, the ability to control frequency as best as possible across all these environments so that your reach is constantly growing is one of the biggest drivers of time-shifted television, how we're buying it. Through platforms and not just through an upfront buy in a linear perspective. But that's what I think one of the biggest changes will bring. I think as dynamic ad insertion becomes a bigger thing in the marketplace as truly live sports goes almost full mainstream. I think the NFL rights shifting around, the NBA rights shifting around to digital platforms, as all of those things come to life, we're just going to be able to insert ourselves in better moments, have more controllable ecosystems. And as a brand, I think about our Super Bowl, which is in a week, Halloween. How do we show up in all the markets that matter most during that season? We can do that through the lens of both live entertainment, through dynamic ad insertion, as well as controllable connected TV ecosystems.
Let's talk about CTV for a minute and what opportunities. We hear a lot about new interactive units that we've been talking about for a long time, but it seems like they're becoming more accessible, easier to use. What are your thoughts about interactive tools to interact with ads and how that might even relate to shoppable and other uses?
Yeah, I think it's definitely changing the way you have to think about not just your creative strategy, but also your media buying strategy. When I look at shoppability for our business, it's a bit of a harder challenge to solve right now when we think about creative units. We are a product that is incredibly impulsively bought. It is at every checkout line for a reason. It's not usually thought of in a delivery mechanism because most of our products, when shipped, melt. But when you think about the Uber Eats, the DoorDashes, and now these on-demand marketplaces that are giving us the ability to insert in the moment on a TV screen, where you could literally buy me now and have me within 30 minutes or less, is a moment for us as a brand to show up. That could be, this is a new signal, a new area of us to think about what shoppability means for an impulsive category. That's one use case, and there's a few others we've been talking through recently of specifically defined in certain platforms like a Roku, where you can enable all of food content to live in one ecosystem. It's almost like your new TV guide mechanism of all the food stuff. Within that, you can actually have content developed. You could also have add to cart features for baking. So when we think about some of our business or some of the products within our business, baking is a huge opportunity for a plethora of products across our portfolio, where if you show baking content and you can have a one-click button add to cart of all the ingredients, hours included, that creates a different moment and a different shoppable experience. So that when you do click to collect or pick up at the store without shopping the aisles, we're already in your cart. We've inserted ourselves in a different way in a different moment. So those are all things we're trying to think through, learn with, test with, and grow with. I think this is so early stages in this area. I think it's going to continue to evolve. I think it's going to continue to grow, though, in a really positive way. And I do think it's going to have a different creative ecosystem that we have to go after and think through of what that consumer experience looks like.
Vinny, you've been doing a media investment for a few years now on the agency side, now on the brand side. What are some of your predictions or expectations or hopes maybe for next year in terms of media investment, in terms of different sorts of platforms, different uses of technology.
Yep.
What do you think is sort of around the corner?
A little bit of what I just alluded to, I think, is a really promising area of opportunity. I think as shoppability does become real, again, my products aside, just in broader terms of the industry, having the ease of use to one-click shop is obviously a really powerful tool and mechanism. I think my hope is we turn the corner and really put consumers first. I think we spend a lot of time as an industry focused on numbers and data points and treating people as numbers and not humans anymore. And I think to bring creative to life, to bring that consumer experience to life, you need to understand what stands out for a consumer. There's a lot of noise out there. You know, to stand out in 2 seconds as a brand is hard. So you've got to create a really moment-driven purpose in that time period that you're spending with them to change their behavior and actually create action off of it. And that's hard to do. And I think creative has taken not a backseat, but certainly is going to come more to the forefront, I hope, of how creative and media placements merge better together in those shoppable experiences in different moments and really bring that consumer experience to the forefront.